Welcome, welcome. Let me know if you're joining me from Facebook or YouTube. Okay, I know we are live on YouTube. Anyone feel free to say hi. We have some time still, just counting down. I know we are live on. It's a little bit choppy, not sure why. Feel free to say hi. Let me know where you're joining me from. I am not seeing comments for some reason. Just give me a second. Got Danielle, Tara, welcome, welcome. Lisette, that's on the YouTube side. I think I need to open a. I just want to make sure I can see your comments here. It's not pulling up for some reason. Awesome. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Okay, just give me a second. For some reason, I am not seeing the Facebook comments or any comments, really. How is everyone doing? If you're watching me live, let me know where you're joining me from. Well, I'm just going to take a couple of minutes here to figure out why I am not actually seeing comments combined from Facebook and YouTube. So I'm just going to try a workaround here. It has been so long since my last live stream. I know. Isabella, hello. Mei, hello. I'm just looking at you guys on a different screen here. Is it choppy for you? Are you guys seeing the connection okay? I've been having some internet connections lately, so hopefully we'll be fine. It's saying excellent on this side. Deborah, welcome, welcome. So today we are talking about Feng Shui period 9. And if you guys, Jer from Aruba, oh my gosh, you guys can't see, but I actually am back in Toronto after a whole week celebrating with my husband for our 20th wedding anniversary. Woo-woo. My Feng Shui husband, I call him. Some of you guys know the story of how I used Feng Shui and manifested a husband. That's another different live stream, perhaps. But yeah, I'm like, if you guys see my before and after, I've got a pretty good tan going. So let me just take a quick sip before I start talking. Thank you, thank you. 20 years, 2 decades with one guy. I give him a pat in the back, and I give myself a pat in the back as well. Hilarious. So some of you, actually, some of your names that I'm seeing here joining me live on Facebook and YouTube, I'm very familiar with. Thank you so much. You guys have been so amazing and so patient. And I'm seeing so many of your names are also in my Feng Shui 2024 group. So yay, welcome back. And if I am new to you, or if you are new to me, my name is Safrina Kadri, and I am the founder of Feng Shui and Prosper. And I have been a Feng Shui elite practitioner. I don't consider myself a master, even though technically I've been doing Feng Shui for half my life. I feel like mastery is a lifelong endeavor, but I consider myself a Feng Shui elite practitioner, having been trained by one of the most revered Feng Shui grandmasters in China, and currently guiding and teaching and certifying other amazing people in my certification courses as well. So how many of you guys are familiar enough with, or have heard, or at least curious about the topic that we're going to cover for today, Feng Shui period 9? If you've never heard of the term Feng Shui period before, put it in the comments, put it in the chat, whether you're on Facebook, on YouTube, it's fine. Put it in the comments if you're not sure what I'm talking about. And also let me know if you have heard of the term Flying Star Feng Shui. Let me know in the comments. We've got Ivana, Maria, Jody, Kat, Rosa. Awesome. Yes, I know you're familiar. Some of you guys took my certification course. Annie, oh, Annie, it's like 5 a.m. where you are, isn't it? Deborah, I am familiar doing your workshop since 2016. How amazing is that? So, just to give you guys a bit of foundational information, especially if you're watching the replay after this and you're not familiar with Flying Star Feng Shui, just letting you know that there are many different schools, classical schools of Feng Shui, and Flying Star Feng Shui is one of them. And that is one of the main methods of Feng Shui that I practice. Okay, there are other, and Flying Star Feng Shui, I personally believe is the best one for any Feng Shui enthusiast to start with, because if done properly, and that is the key, if done properly, it gives you amazing results, but is also, I don't want to say easy or simple, but out of all the classical, the powerful classical Feng Shui methods out there, Flying Star Feng Shui is the one where Feng Shui newbies will be able to get a hang of more than others. Sorry, something just dropped here. Okay, so let me just share a couple of screens here with you guys. And I know some of you guys sent me a couple of questions about this live stream, so I will cover that in a minute. So here is a chart of Feng Shui periods. And those of you who took the certification courses, it's going to be a familiar chart for you guys, okay? So in Feng Shui, there are actually two ways of calculating periods. This is one of them. And this is the one that we use in Flying Star Feng Shui. So in Flying Stars, there are 9 numbers. So you're seeing in this period column here, there's numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And every periods 1, 2, and 3 are considered upper yuan, which is 60 years. Periods 4, 5, and 6 are considered middle yuan, which is another 60 years. And periods 7, 8, and 9 are called the lower yuan, which is another 60 years. So this is the 180-year cycle. And if you look down here, oh, sorry, I have a typo right here. I'm so sorry. But period 9 officially starts February 4th, 2024. This is a typo here. I'm sorry. 2024 till February 4, 2044. Okay, I'm not able to, actually, let me see if I can fix that. I don't know why I didn't catch that before. Okay. So yeah, that's actually a typo right there. Okay. February 4th, 2024 till February 3rd, 2044. So if you see this date, we're just a few months away from this date. And once it is February 4th, next year, we will officially be in period 9. Hence, the topic of today's live stream. And if you have been in the Feng Shui world for a while, you're probably realizing that you're starting to see a lot of talk about Feng Shui period 9. How many of you guys are wondering how Feng Shui period 9 is going to affect you, your home, your experiences in at your house? You guys are probably wondering, right? Is it very blurry? It's looking fine for me. Yeah. So with the changes in the period, that there's a change of period every 20 years where this chart is concerned. And it is really important to know the fact that there's a period changeover, because what is Feng Shui? Feng Shui is a study of energy, a calculation of energy. And even science tells us energy is never stagnant. Energy is always moving. And therefore, one of my pet peeves is people thinking that you can do like a walk away Feng Shui, that you Feng Shui your house, you had a Feng Shui consultant come to your house 10 years ago and you're done. The Feng Shui of your home is now done. You like wash your hands off it and you're good forever and ever and always. That is not the case, because the chi, the energy, the ki, the prana, however you want to call it, is constantly shifting. There's an ebb and flow. And therefore, with the changeover into the new period, then that also means, especially for us who are trained in Flying Star Feng Shui, that also means that our the places that we activate and the places that we remedy would need to get tweaked to get with the times, literally, okay? Because the energy is shifting. Now, how many of you guys have heard that you need to change the period of your home to period 9? And in fact, if you have any questions about period 9, you can put it in the comment. I actually am here for your Q&As here. I don't have a lot of slides prepared for you guys. I'm really here for Q&A with regards to period 9, because I know with some of you guys registering for Feng Shui 2024, that is one of the main questions that you have. right? If you have a home, let me go back to, so it doesn't matter what period your home is in, okay? And in my lineage, the feng shui period of your home is based on when you moved into your home or your building. The period of your home is not based on when the building was built. It is not based on when the first occupants moved in. In my lineage of Grandmaster Tanyang Wu, the period of your home is based on when you moved in to your house. Or if you are in a building, then the period of your unit itself, not the whole building, but the period of your unit itself is based on when you moved in to your unit. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you are a period 6, right? Nowadays, like if you moved in between, can you guys see on the screen there? Yeah. If you moved in between February 4th, 1963 to February 4th, 1984, then you are considered period 6. If you moved in between February 4th, 1984 to February 3rd, 2004, you're considered period 7. And if you moved in between February 4th, 2004 till February 3rd, 2024, you're considered period 8. So be very careful. For those of you who are buying homes or are moving, even if you're moving next year in January or even February, if you moved in February 2nd, 2024, what period would you be in? Put it in the chat. Period 8. Yes, because period 9 only starts February 3rd, February 4th, 2024 here. Okay, so you have to be really careful if you're moving in the beginning of the year next year, because you need to make sure that you get your permanent information feng shui period correct. Okay, why is this so important? Because in order to know the feng shui energy of your home, there are two key pieces of information that you need to have in order for you to calculate the permanent energy of your home. The first key information, the first key information is the compass facing. And again, for most people, the compass facing is the front of the house or where the main door is, but 5%, 7% of the time, it could be the side of the house, it could be the back of the house. It's very rare for the back of the house, but I have seen it happen. That's another scope we're not going to go through here. But once you have the facing or the compass reading of your home and you have the correct period, which is based on the time you moved in, only then you are able to calculate the permanent energy of your home. Okay, and I think I have an example of that here. So if you are supposed to be period 9, but you forgot about the shifts and you made your chart based on period 8, then this is, for those of you who are not familiar, this is a flying star chart here. Okay, if you get either your compass reading wrong, which is this part, or if you get your feng shui period wrong, then you're getting the wrong chart and you're going to do your feng shui based on the wrong chart, and you do not want that. Okay, and so be very careful if you're, because I know some of you guys are building your homes, you're moving house, you're buying a home. So be very careful with that date there. February 4th next year is the cutoff time. Okay. So let me see if I can see the comments now. I don't know why I can't see the comments. Okay. And so I've got a question here. Can we start implementing some of the remedies that we should be doing in February 2024? Normally I put the remedies in October, November, which is part of the reason why every year I do my annual Feng Shui training to update you guys to the New Year's energy around October, right? So you don't want to do it too early. I have found September might be a little bit early to get ready for next year's energy, but October, November, at the very latest January is the most opportune time to put your activators, to put your remedies. That is if you found out about the Feng Shui annual energies prior to that. But even if you found out later in the year, you can still Feng Shui. It doesn't mean that, oh, it's too late. It's something is better than nothing, right? So I know the wrong facing direction firsthand. Oh, Nicole. But at least you figured that out. Beatrice says, if one is moving soon, would you suggest waiting until period 9 or doing it before 8 ends? That is one of the myths that I want, one of the main myths that I want to bust open right now is the idea that only period 9 homes will prosper in period 9. No such thing. Okay. I remember when period 7 changed to period 8, that there was a huge thing in Asia where everyone was like crazy renovating their homes to change it to period 8. And in my grandmaster's lineage, changing a period is not as simple as changing 8 roof tiles. It's not as simple as just throwing a big party in the house and it changes your period. No. If you want to change the period of your home, one of the ways to do it is to move out of your house, take all your belongings, move out, wait 30 days, then you move back in. The other way is to open your roof. There's more nuances to this, but I'm just doing like the Cliff's Notes here. Open your roof for 30 days. And you need to make sure the sun, the rain, the snow hits your ground floor. So if you guys have a 2-level home, this is going to be a trickier one to do, right? Only then that the period of the house changes. But can a period 6 home, a period 7 home, or a period 8 home still prosper in period 9? Absolutely. It just means you need to switch where you're going to activate the timely energies. Okay. So okay. Am I sharing my iPad? Sorry, guys. Yeah, I've been having internet issues since I came back a couple of days ago, so sorry about that. Okay. So because we are in period 9, or we are going into period 9, the timely energies generally is the current reigning star, which is star 9, the next star, which is star 1, and the following star, which is star 2. Okay, that is the general guideline. So if you are wanting, so where you activate would generally be, I have a caveat here, generally be your directions in the directions where your flying star chart is showing you where you have 9 or 1 or 2. So it doesn't matter what period your home is, all the home periods have 9, 1, and 2 in their charts. So if I show you guys this one, for instance, this is a period 6 facing south 2 home. For money, for instance, the 9 is here, the 1 is here, the 2 is here. So those are the timely stars for health and relationship. Sorry, for money. And for health and relationship, the 9 is here, the 1 is here, the 2 is here. The caveat is, if you want to do DIY Feng Shui, you have to do it at your own risk. Even with me telling you about the timely stars, there are still situations where you actually do not want to activate those timely stars. Okay. So for instance, this combination of 1 and 2, this combination is a bad combination for males who are single males, older than 16 years old, no children. So if you activate the number 2 thinking, oh, we're going into period 9, number 2 is getting timely. And for those of you who know 5-element cycle, what is number 2? What element is number 2? It's earth. Okay, what element is number 1? Water. Okay, so if and the number 1, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go into either my Facebook page or my YouTube channel where I've uploaded Feng Shui 101, where I talk a little bit more about this. But the number 1 is the middle sun. Okay, male, over 16 years of age, no children, right? So if the middle sun says, ooh, I've got money energy here in the southeast because my house is period 6 facing south 2. If the middle sun uses this room and he puts a lot of earth and element there, it's actually going to make things pretty stressful for him. I know we all want straightforward answers. There's no straightforward answers in Feng Shui. It has to be specific to your house, your layout, who is using that room. And even if the energy is timely, should you even use that room or activate that room? That is the question. And how do you know this? There's no book. I have not seen an English language book that properly teaches this. Not in the level that I teach in the certification course, not in the level that I practice. Right? And so that's period 6. So you could be a period 6 house. Generally, you could still Feng Shui your home for period 9. But if you want to do DIY Feng Shui, just know that the risk for you to inadvertently trigger negative energy is always there. I'm not here to make you paranoid. I'm here, this is to give you a warning. Because the issue with the Feng Shui world, and I know not everyone can afford a Feng Shui consultant, and that's absolutely fine, right? But people said, oh, I did this. I took this generalized one-size-fits-all information. Safrina said, I can activate 9, 1, and 2 for period 9. I activated it and I got bad results, don't say I didn't warn you, because there are so many other layers. Those of you who took certification with me, you know, right? There are so many other layers to look at as well. Okay, and let's take a look at this one. This is period 8 facing south too. So as you can see, these two homes, oh, let me put this side by side here. Okay, these two homes, they're both facing south too. Okay, but the period is different. So can you see that the numbers are in all those boxes are also different, right? However, as long as you get your period right and you get your compass reading facing correct, if you want to know generally where are the timely stars during period 9, you don't have to renovate your house into a period 9 house. Have I just saved, I think I just saved some of you guys like 5-6 figures in reno costs. Don't fall for masters or construction companies that say, oh, if you want good feng shui, you need to get your house into a period 9 house. No. And in fact, a lot of the combinations, the water and mountain star combinations for period 9, I actually do not like. Right? Those of you guys who are in certification course, you agree with me, right? A lot of the period 9 combinations are not good. A lot of men and women are going to suffer if they don't know how to deal with it for period 9. Okay, so for this house, period 8 facing south 2, again, let's say for money, because I know everyone wants to make more money, right? And in a flying star chart, the money energy is what tells the money energy is on the right side of each quadrant. Okay, the top right. So this is the money water star. Okay, so we're looking at 9, 1, and 2. These are the timely stars for period 9. But do I want to activate this? Not just yet. This is just still the first line of inquiry, the first line of review. When I review my clients' charts, I look at this and I go, if you activate money here, let's say increasing your usage in the Northwest, let's say putting more, what element is 2? It's earth, right? What produces more earth? What elements produces more earth? Earth itself produces more earth. And fire element also strengthens the earth. So if you put earth and fire into the Northwest room because you want to activate the number 2 elementally, what do you end up doing? You're also strengthening the number 5, which is bad for health and relationships. So you're going to make money, but your relationships are going to suffer. I have seen divorces and very serious illness from the 5-2 combination. So I've told you what the timely stars are in period 9, but I'm also giving you a fair warning that don't go so gung-ho activating the 9, 1, and 2 without really understanding flying star combinations itself. Okay, so let me take a look at questions here. Good question. So some of you guys asked about imprisonment of stars. So you either have a 9 A 9 in the top left or a 9 in the top right? Right? So these are sorry. Yeah. Imprisoned. What do you do with that? What does it mean? If you're looking at your chart, once you have your period and you're facing, and you have a number 9 locked in the top left corner of the central palace, it has to be in this box here, then that means your health and relationship is locked. It's imprisoned. And that means for most of the people living in that house, they will, once you go into period 9, the health and relationship energy will be quite negative. And if you have the number 9 in the top right corner of your Feng Shui chart of your home, then your finances is imprisoned. Your money is locked. Then that also means that that it will be a financially challenging period. And that's 20 years of challenges, because every period is 20 years time frame, right? Period 9 is 2024 till 2044. So once we are done with period 9 and we go into period 1, come 2044, then it's no longer imprisoned. This is the only time, if you have an imprisonment of star, this is the only time I would suggest a renovation, but it is tricky. Unlocking the imprisoned star and is not going to be cheap, because it's going to be a reno. You're gonna have to break down some walls. But it has to be done right. I'm not going to go into it here because I worry that if I give guidelines, you guys are going to do it and then you end up doing it wrong and you're going to ask me for money because you did your reno wrong. I don't want that. Okay. But if you have, so Tara's question, if you have a 9 in the central palace, should you activate it? I wouldn't. That's another thing to consider. Okay, because it's imprisoned anyway. Your activation is not going to bring any results in that case. Okay. Robin saying, now I think about it, when I bought my home, I got the keys to the house and the owners were still moving out things of the house. Not sure the house was completely empty for 30 days. That is different. That's see, different situations, right? So as long as there's a change in ownership, in this case, right, the ownership of the home, or even if it's actually ownership is a better indicator. So it could be like they took out their stuff and then you got your keys to your home less than 30 days later and you move in, that's fine. There's still a shift. Even if you're renting, the previous tenants moved out and then you move in, even next day or 2 days later, that's still a new period. What I meant about the 30 days is if you are already in your house, let's say you are currently period 7 house and you want to update it to a period 9 house, again, don't go through all that without first understanding the implications of updating the house to period 9. Personally, I don't like it. Okay. So if you are currently in that house, then you move out, leave the place for 30 days, and then you move back in. That's the 30 days is meant for that situation. Okay. Tara says, I checked my home and period 9 is worse than what I have now. Yes, absolutely. Don't buy into masters that say only period 9 house can prosper in period 9. If you don't get anything, if you don't understand anything else from this live stream, I want you to take away that bit that just because your house is not in a period 9 home doesn't mean you cannot prosper in period 9. Please hear me on that. Okay. The combination takes precedence over the individual stars, good or bad. Yes. But the issue is not a lot of people are properly trained for that. One of my certification students actually shared another author's book about flying star combinations. And in all honesty, I bought that book out of curiosity. I bought the book just to see what the author, I'm not going to say if it's male or female, what the author says about the flying star combination. And the combinations that I've seen a lot for period 7 and period 8, and I looked at her or how she was trained in interpreting those flying star combinations, I highly disagree with. I have not seen her explanations to be true. So it depends on how I follow, well, 95% of the time I follow what my grandmaster teaches me, because I have found that his interpretation of the 81 combination is freakishly accurate. And this is how, with flying star feng shui, we can forecast what could potentially happen in the future. And we can also do forensic feng shui and work back to why certain things happened to certain people in the house. Okay. They may be all flying star feng shui, but it's in the interpretation of the energy is where it differentiates the kind of result you can get from flying star feng shui. Okay. Yay, DJ Ray. Remember to like the video if you appreciate the content. Thank you. I was in the hospital for 26 days just last month. Oh, Maria, I'm so sorry to hear that. How to remedy the 9-7 in the center? Can you put water or use blue? You can use water or use blue, but that's not going to remedy the number 9. It's remedying the number 7. Lily is asking, can I change my business period? What do you mean? Are you talking about a brick and mortar, like an actual store? Just let me know. Okay. Cecilia is asking, what is the best way to handle a rental in an apartment building for period 9? Since it's not a long-term living arrangement, should one just go with annual feng shui energy? Oh, you're talking about you renting a unit in an apartment building, Cecilia? It depends. Well, you should, if you're only there short term, like less than a year, definitely go with annual feng shui, do the annual feng shui. But as you know, because I know you followed me for a few years, your annual feng shui still has to be, how you feng shui for the year depends on the permanent energy chart of the house, right? So actually, let's talk about that here. Give me a second. I don't know why. All right. So here, here is the 3 levels of energy. Okay. I know for many of you guys, this is gonna like go over your head. You have no idea what I'm talking about. But if anything, this is how Feng Shui, or at least Flying Star Feng Shui, is done, should be done. Okay. We already talked earlier that once you have the compass reading and once you have the period of your house, then you get the permanent energy chart, which is this one here, the one on the left. Right? And every year there's a new flying star chart. This is the flying star chart for 2023. And at the very least, you should do your feng shui based on the annual chart overlaid onto your permanent chart. At the very least, to update the feng shui of your home. Again, this is not for the faint of heart, because if you do it wrong, you're going to activate the wrong energy and you're going to put yourself into some trouble there. Which is why I have my annual feng shui workshop. If you have not registered for it, it's annualfengshui.com. That's where you get that. Our first live training is happening on the 13th of this month. You'll get the replays, but if you want to join me from the get-go in the live workshops, October 13th is the first one where we talk about determining period and facing. Okay. Determining period and determining facing, if you look at feng shui books, they only spend a few paragraphs, maybe even 2 pages if they're feeling frisky, if the author is feeling a little bit generous to talk about period and facing. But actually getting yourself familiarized with determining period and determining facing is actually one of the trickiest bits of flying star feng shui. It's very tricky. And if you get one of them wrong, then you're going to get the wrong permanent energy chart. Okay. So if you're just renting for the year or for the month, or for a few months, I say 6 months, 8 months, then yeah, I would do annual energy and then permanent. I would do your feng shui based on the annual energy that is overlapped onto your permanent energy. And if you guys want to go a little bit more advanced, you add in the monthly energy. This one is a bit of a mind F. If you want to do monthly, annual, and permanent feng shui placements, it takes a lot of experience, truthfully, to understand, okay, what is the ultimate result energetically from all these combinations of monthly, annual, and permanent? What are the elements that I need in this direction for this month? Where can I safely activate for this month or for the year? Okay. Nicole says, I was off by just a few degrees and was following the wrong flying stars in the wrong rooms for a whole year. Be careful with compass readings, but at least you figured it out, Nicole. We're going to go glass half full. At least you found that out. And Ellen says, oh, I'm going to have to move my bed. Virginia says, my current home, period 8, facing south, has kitchen in the center. When looking for my next home, I will use your training and advice to find better layout for my family. Hope it's before period 9 starts. So, so that's another issue, Virginia. Okay. What I'm talking about here is, this is my own term. Okay, wait for it to change screen. All right, it took a while. All right, there is energetic feng shui Okay, versus structural Feng Shui. So Virginia, with your kitchen in the center, of course, whatever flying star combination you have in that central kitchen, it has impact. But the fact that your kitchen is in the center is more importantly a structural Feng Shui issue. And kitchens in the center, especially the longer you live there, would have impact in health and relationship, but more specifically in health. I have seen situations where if the tenants have been in that home for a while and they have a kitchen in the center, usually the illness are the more severe ones. We're talking about lifelong illness. Those are the ones that that is the structural Feng Shui issue that gets triggered when you have a kitchen in the center. So yeah, you definitely want, Virginia, didn't you take my certification course though? I don't remember. Yeah. But he's just asking for 7-1 combination using yin water to remedy 7 will, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yes, it really does take a lot of consideration. What I hope you guys understand, the intention of me making Feng Shui sound complicated is not so much so that you'll book me for a consult. Okay, I actually haven't done a consult in a long time. People who want a consultation, I give them to my associates to do the consult, right? It's more to save people from DIY Feng Shui and get themselves into deeper trouble. And also, if you want to invest in getting a Feng Shui consultant, at least it gives you some knowledge on how to spot a fake Feng Shui consultant. They can be knowingly fake or unknowingly fake, because some people take a Feng Shui certification course and they don't realize they're being taught the wrong things. Granted, that happens. But even in this town of Toronto, I know Feng Shui consultants who are not properly trained and they've been in business for years. They have no business taking other people's money for Feng Shui consulting because they're not properly trained and they give clients bad results. Make sure they bring a compass with them. We joke in the comments, but it's actually true. If you're working with a Feng Shui consultant and they do not have a compass on them, that is a huge red flag. You walk away. Okay. Yeah. So as a recap, if there's no other questions. Oh, actually, I did get a question in my email, because I did ask for you guys to email me if you have any questions about period 9. So one of the questions is, will there be more global awakening in period 9? Yes, there is, but it's not because it's period 9. It's just because for a few decades now, the movement for global awakening has been happening. And it's started more so, it started ticking up in period 7. And then period 8, more people awakening. Period 9, more people awakening, right? But whether or not, so this is more of like, it's not so much of a Feng Shui thing anymore, but whether or not a person awakens, in my opinion, depends on their soul mission, their soul blueprint. Yeah. Some of you guys have heard me talk about why I don't put a lot of emphasis on astrological readings, because astrological readings is based on our date of birth in this lifetime. But now we go very woo, yeah? But every lifetime, every time we reincarnate, every time we re-embody, one thing remains constant, we have the same soul, we have the same soul purpose, we have the same soul mission, the same soul blueprint. So there are some souls whose mission is not to reawaken, either in this lifetime or future lifetimes, right? But there are also some souls that are here, could be you, could be me, that it's part of our soul mission to ascend spiritually. And then we go along with the wave of the global awakening, right? It's nothing to do with period 9. It's nothing to do with Feng Shui. That's my belief anyway, because it's happened. There's spiritual people all the time, right? It's just now we're starting to see an uptick. Okay. What's the safest activation for number 2 for a 5-2 combination? The safest activation, I would say, is usage. You can maybe use it for your office, but really there's a risk to that because a 5-2 means health and relationship will take a hit. So you're gonna get promotions at work, but your spouse, your partner is gonna grumble and leave you because you're always at work, right? That happens. Or you're gonna make a lot of money, but then your health takes a toll, and we see that. Okay. Dan Zhao, how much is your annual energy flying star course? Right now it's $88. I think I have 40 more seats at 88 US. After that, it goes up to 108. So I'm almost at, I believe I'm almost at, actually I have to double check. I'm almost at 400 people registered now. Okay. The plot says, I am planning to build my house from scratch next year, the beginning of period 9. What are your general suggestions in terms of vital things? You know what? I can't comment too much in terms of energetic Feng Shui because it is so many layers, right? What's a good chart for your home is also determined by the land itself. Where's the higher ground? Where's the lower ground? What are the other buildings around you? Because those landforms also impacts the strength of your flying star chart. Okay. So really that should be done case by case. You're lucky enough you're building from scratch. That's actually a great blank slate. Not a lot of people have that. I would actually highly recommend, if you think you're ready for in-depth knowledge, is actually get a certification course. I have mine coming up in February. That way you can start planning how to design your layout. Where is the best spot for the master bedroom? Where's the best spot for the kitchen? If you have a home office, where's the best spot for the home office? We look at the internal layout and we look at the landform. And in fact, the landform is more important because you cannot change a landform. If you have a tall mountain, then that tall mountain needs to inform how you how you design your layout, the internal parts of the home. Okay. Yeah, you basically have to align yourself with the landform when you're doing your home Feng Shui design. Yeah, but structural Feng Shui wise, like we already mentioned, no kitchen in the center. If there is a patriarch in the house, no kitchen in the northwest, right? What other things? You want to see externally, sounds like you already have a plot of land. You also want to see if externally, if there are any poison arrows, where are the bright halls and things like that. So it needs to be specific to the land itself, and also who is living there. If there's not going to be a patriarch in the house, then having a kitchen in the northwest has no impact on everyone else. It's only impacting the fathers, right? And also go back to my YouTube channel. I've got the Feng Shui 101 series. I don't think I've uploaded everything yet. It's a 15 video series of like basic Feng Shui. Not so much as a training, but more for you to understand how Feng Shui really works and how real Feng Shui looks like. Again, if you want to get a Feng Shui consultant, you can test them. Test their knowledge. Okay, that's when you know if you have a good Feng Shui consultant or not. Okay, but like I have a video in my YouTube channel talking about the Kwa number and the family members. So then you will design your house based on who's actually going to be living there. You want a house and you want to design the rooms, the bedrooms specifically, to be good for those family members. We don't go by Kwa number, at least not the way you guys think about Kwa numbers, and we don't go by astrology. Okay. Is there any one direction that you would not buy a home in period 9, or is it very hard to remedy? I could be biased. Well, those of you who took my certification course, we know what are the combinations in a lot of the period 9 charts. We don't like it. There's always pros and cons, but I feel like period 9 can be tricky for a lot of people. Okay. If I want to change roof of my house in Asia and not change the period of the house, how do I do that? Can I put a cover over the roof, open the cover when the workers are working, and close it when they're done for the day? For most roof change, that's actually pretty easy, Annie. Most roof change happens under 30 days. In fact, here, unless your house is really big and you have a lot of roofs, over here in Canada where I'm at, it's usually less than a week that they get the whole roof replaced. Then you're fine. Your period will still be the same. Yeah. Will you be doing an exterior Feng Shui course? That's Feng Shui level 2. And Jody, you took my course. So those of you who took Feng Shui level 1, then you can take Feng Shui level 2 with me next year. And Feng Shui level 2, I will not make that public because I only want my level 1 students to advance to level 2. I want everyone in the level 2 course to have the same level 1 foundational flying star before you go into level 2. And in level 2, yeah, we talk even more on structural Feng Shui, which I'm confident enough to say the structural Feng Shui stuff that I'll be covering in level 2, you cannot find in any English books. Okay. And I wouldn't have gotten the training myself if I didn't know Mandarin. I'm half Chinese, if you guys don't know. And I read and write in Chinese. So I am very grateful that my late father had the foresight to put me in Chinese school because he knew Mandarin was going to be an important language. And true enough, well, no one thought I was going to be a Feng Shui practitioner. But knowing Chinese, knowing Mandarin, being able to like communicate with a master in Mandarin came in very handy. I can tell you that. 2-9 combination is good for relationships too. Yes, but with a caveat. That's all I can say at this level. Yeah. When you speak about the annual, permanent, and monthly chart, if we are not yet certified, do we get the benefit of your knowledge of these charts in the annual training? In other words, how do we get these chart readings? Okay. Great question. Let me, where is, yeah. So in my annual Feng Shui training, again, if you're not yet registered, it's annualfengshui.com. Annualfengshui.com is where you register. I go over the annual and the permanent energy. Okay. And for November, I am going to start offering the monthly energy, but only for those who are in my annual energy workshop. And that's going to be like a minimal monthly membership. And every month by around the time the month changes, then I'll send out information on how you update for the month. And I'll be doing updates for period 7, period 8, and period 9 homes. You know what? I'll add in period 6 too. Yeah, period 6, period 7, period 8, and period 9. So for those who moved into their house after February 4th, they can also start doing their monthly placement based on their period 9 charts. Yeah. Okay. It is usually in certification course that my students finally understand why there are a lot of questions I can't properly answer, because in the certification course is when they start to see a layout or start to see a flying star chart the way I look at it. Right? They're like, oh my gosh, Safrina, there's so many layers. I'm like, yeah, there are a lot of layers. So forget about asking me, can I learn flying star feng shui from a book? No. In my personal and professional opinion, a book doesn't cover the depth of a flying star feng shui wisdom that's been around for thousands of years. Okay. Yeah. This part of Ohio is flat as a pancake. Penny. Oh, well, it could be flat, but you might have a little hill. Don't you have hills? Like rolling hills or whatever. As long as it's still higher than your lower ground, it's still considered higher ground. Yeah. Okay. Marie is asking how to do flying star in one solo room or office. Grid, Pi, what system to use? I don't use the grid at all. And I use the Pi, but as a backup. My main way to demarcate a layout is what my grandmaster taught me, which is called compartmentalizing the stars. So it is based on how your layout, how the walls are in your home, and we demarcate the layout based on that. And that's going to be the second live training that's happening, actually annual. So yeah, so in annualfengshui.com, once you register, I'll have a more in-depth training on how you demarcate. So again, forget about the grid. The 3x3 grid does not work. And I have only certain situations where I use the pie grid, usually if it's a rectangular house. But most of the time, when we demarcate a layout, we use my grandmaster's method, which is compartmentalizing the stars. Again, I don't believe you will find that method in any English language flying star books. Yeah, okay. The kitchen in 5-2 permanent energy is the use of metal enough. You can you can use metal and salt cure. Yeah, but if so, who was this? Maria? I don't know how long you've been in that house, but a kitchen with 5-2 usually would indicate health and relationship issues as well. So you can remedy it with metal and salt cure, but it will minimize it. It won't take care of it completely. So you still have to watch out for health and relationship for that. Okay. When does registration open for the certification? In Feb, I need refresher this year. Yeah, I've actually been taking registrations for a couple of months now. So Nicole, just send me an email and you can do the refresher. Yeah. Hey, Isabella's here. Kitchen in the Northwest impacts fathers. Do godfathers count? It actually doesn't matter what that person's relationship is to you. If your godfather has a child, then he is impacted by the kitchen in the Northwest, because your godfather, whether it's related to you by blood or not, he himself is a patriarch. So the kitchen in the Northwest will impact him. Okay. Rosa is here. Safrina, if I was to put furniture and some of the clothes in the garage, which is separate from the house, Would that work for the 30 days? Yeah, that won't work because your garage is separate from the house. Yeah, no, you're gonna have to move like house furniture for 30 days. Okay, but do you want a period 9 house though, Rosa? You took my certification, right? Yeah, look at how the period 9 chart, superimpose it to your layout and see if it's actually good. So she's saying we want to renovate our house because it's damaged. Is there a specific direction that we should start the work from there? Like start from north or direction or south? I would just say if you're following annual energy, at the very least, don't start where the no renovation directions are. So next year, the no reno directions are going to be in the west, in the south, and northwest 1. And then if you know when you're going to renovate, you should look at the monthly energy as well, Sophie. Okay, you don't want the monthly 3 killing direction, and you don't want the monthly breaker direction. And I note that in the calendar. Okay. Do you provide consulting service in designing a house? Yes, I do. Right now, because I am working on a couple of other projects, I will be having you work with one of my associates. My best associates now, my best students now are my associates. They work for me. And so they can help you with designing your house. And if they ever have any questions, they can come back to me and have my eyes on your layout to make sure that they're doing it right. Or to make sure that, you know, like not so much doing it right, but like just second opinion, things like that. Yeah, so we can do that. Okay. Just email me. You see at the bottom here, you can reach me on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. I'm on TikTok. If you guys are on TikTok, follow me there. Or fengshuiandprosper.com. I have my contact info there as well. Okay. Energetically, will period 9 enhance or diminish certain water and mountain star combinations in the permanent energy of a house? Yes. And that happens for every period, not just period 9. And this is what I mean by when there's a change in the period, then there's a change in the timeliness of the stars. When the mountain star and the water star's energy timeliness changes, okay, I'm going to start speak a little slower here. When there's a change in the Feng Shui period, then the timeliness of the mountain star, which is the numbers on the top left corners of your permanent chart, and the water stars, which is the number in the top right corner of your chart, the timeliness changes. So then if it's good, it might be even more. If it's prosperous energy, it might get more prosperous. Or sometimes if it's prosperous energy, it might be a little bit less prosperous. And the same thing can happen to the negative energy as well. Some negative energy will actually get not so negative, and then other negative energy will get even more malevolent. How does that work? It's based on the timeliness. Yeah. For the annual flying star chart overlaid on the permanent flying star chart, is it based on the condo apartment unit plan? Yes. Yeah. If you're in an apartment building or a condo building, yes, it's based on your layout. However, okay, here's the thing that you need to watch out for. Okay, Dan or anyone else in a building. Going back, let me bring up that. Hold on, okay. So here is the nuance that you will not get from a book. Okay. The whole building, if you are in a condo or an apartment building, the whole building will have the same facing because the facing is based on the building. not based on your unit. So forget about, I know a certain teacher in Asia says, if your balcony faces a certain direction, that's your facing. No. Everyone in that building has the same facing. But people in that building will have a different period. Especially if it's an older building, you need to watch out. I was in a building that was a period 6 building, meaning it was built in period 6, and there were people who moved in period 6. So those people that have a period 6 chart. But me and my family, we moved in period 8. So my chart, my permanent energy chart, will be a period 8. That is my period, but the facing will be the building's facing. So everyone in my building would have the same facing. But because we have different period, then we have a different permanent energy chart. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the way that I'm trained, we don't look at the balcony in terms of determining where that unit's facing is. Okay, I hope that clarifies it. The monthly energy, it's not a course, it's basically a membership. It's like how you would subscribe. It's a subscription, I should say. Yeah, just like how you would subscribe to Netflix, right? So every month, if you're subscribed, then every month before the new month rolls around, I'll send out the monthly updates for the month. Yeah. So as long as you follow me on my socials, like TikTok, Facebook, or YouTube, or as long as you're on my mailing list, I will be, once we are done with the main training for annual for Feng Shui 2024, the main training happens, I believe, October 31st. I don't remember. Yeah, sorry. The main event is October 28th. So once that main event is done, then I'll send out an email only for those who registered for the annual training. To then I'll send out the invite to subscribe to the monthly updates, if that's what you want. Yeah. Okay. So it's not a course per se. I do all the calculation, just like the annual training. It's not, I should say it's a workshop. It's not really a certification at all, right? I do all the calculation for you guys so that every year you basically have a playbook on where to activate for the year, where to remedy for the year. Yeah, you won't specifically know why I suggested certain things. If you want to know, hey, Safrina, why did you suggest wood here or metal there? That one is more certification level. But not everyone wants to learn the in-depth stuff. Some people go like, Safrina, just tell me what I need to do and I'll do it. I don't want to learn the nitty-gritty. Just tell me what to put. And then, so that's the annual Feng Shui, right? That's the annual workshop. Okay. Yeah, for those of you guys who want a refresher, if you've already taken the certification course, if you want a refresher, just let me know. We can get you in for February. Husband and I had to move back with into our northwest bedroom until October 18. Okay. Can we just stay there for the rest of the year, or should we move back to our southeast bedroom? It depends on what your permanent energy chart is. But where annual energy is concerned, because this year the number 5 is in the northwest, at least that energy is waning. And then this month is a 1 in the northwest. You'd be okay. But November, December might be a little bit tricky. In fact, January as well. So even though the number the number 5 is tricky. Okay, even though the number 5 is tricky, even though the number 5 is weakening, because now we're at the end of the year, unfortunately, the following months in the northwest can actually increase that negativity a little bit more. So at the very least, if you don't have another room to use, put another sock here or two, just to be safe. Okay. Change the roof, Sabrina, not inside the house. The roof will include all directions. Yeah, the roof will include, I know, the same. Yeah. So the roof, if you change the roof for the whole house, it hits all directions. But at the very least, you start in a direction that is not afflicted for the year or for the month. Yeah. Okay. In period 9, the 1-8 combination still a prosperous combo, even if it's in a bathroom. Yeah, that is how, like, for Dan or whoever it was that's building from scratch, right? If you know there's a good combination, you don't put a bathroom there. You don't put a storage locker there. You don't put a butler's pantry there. Because even with a good combination, it's hard for you to activate. Yeah. Even when apartments have opposite doors with hallway in between. Yep. Yep. All be very clear with this. When you're in a building, the whole building have the same facing, but every unit may have their own different period. Yeah. Okay. Like, again, going back to the building that I was in, it was built in period 6. There were people who moved in period 6. And in fact, I got into an elevator with a lady and she said, oh, I was one of the first few who moved in the, I think, 1980s, 1981 or 82, I forgot. So her unit is a period 6 chart. I moved in period 8. My unit is a period 8 chart. Okay. I did the annual for 2023. Where are the permanence chart for that? Because I didn't put it in the workbook. I have all the permanent energy chart. This is how it is when I do the annual workbook. I have the period 6, period 7, period 8 charts on one side. And then I have the annual chart in front of me. And then I basically take the annual chart and well, I don't manually do it. I just do it with my eyes, and I just overlay the annual chart to all the period 6, period 7, period 8 charts. And then I put my recommendations in the workbook. I don't put it on for you guys. It's going to be gobbledygook for most of you guys. You don't know what it means. Yeah. Okay. If 1-6 in the bathroom, do you activate? No, you can't. Are you going to work in your bathroom? Unless you have a really big and a really nice bathroom, and maybe you can bring a laptop there. But how do you activate for career progression when that energy is in the bathroom, right? Do you have a directory list for your associates on any of your platforms? No. So you guys have to reach out to me. In all honesty, I only have 2 associates right now. So yeah. Okay, so if you want to work with one of my associates, it is still booked through me because it's still a service from my business. I'm not hands-on 100%, but whenever they're like, hey, Safrina, can you just take a look at the demarcation, take a look at the, I'm, not 100% with this placement. What do you think? Should I suggest the client move the bed this way or not? 100%. That's when I come in, but they are very good, I can tell you. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. Oh my gosh, we're like an hour, 20 minutes in. I have to go and make dinner. But thank you so much for joining me on this live stream. And I hope you guys like the fancy background and stuff that I have here. It's just a shame that I think my internet, we had internet issues yesterday. We had to reboot the modem and everything. So I think it's kind of made things a little bit choppy today as well. But thanks so much for joining me in this one. And again, if you haven't registered for the annual Feng Shui, then do it. Again, I think I have 40 seats left at $88. If you see it go up to 108, then you know I've passed the 400 registrations. So love the red, yay. Can we do another one more about period 9? DJ Ray, sure. You have a question? Or are you talking about another live stream? Really, there's not that much to talk about in period 9, in my opinion anyway. It's almost like much ado about period 9, like this big hoo-ha around it. But DJ Ray, if you have one last question about period 9, feel free to put it in the chat and I'll go over it now. Yeah, so just letting you guys know. So my first live workshop, which is determining period and facing, that's happening on the 13th. Second workshop, which is determining demarcation, that's on the 21st. And then the 28th is the main event. And on November 9th is the date selection, basic training. Okay. All right, everyone. Take care. Bye.